welcome back to another class on speech processing. Just to remind you, last class I was talking about something called Connectionist Temporal Classification or CTC, and we are now trying to address something called speech recognition problem. Okay, so the idea in speech recognition or automatic speech recognition, sometimes also called speech to text, also called speech to text, is essentially that you are given a speech waveform, like I am saying a sentence or something. This goes into a system which is called the ASR system, and out comes a sequence of words. That is the basic idea in speech recognition. This is a cat. This is what we want. Okay, and previously we have dealt with this problem through a conventional statistical approach, which is called the GMM-HMM approach. Okay, so in the GMM-HMM approach, we have a mixture of Gaussians which model the variability in a particular sound spoken by many speakers. So, for example, if I say ah versus a woman says ah versus a child says ah, because the vocal tract dimensions are going to be different, the sounds and the waveforms are actually different. The waveform is different, the frequency content is different. Perceptually, when we hear it, we all can understand that it is ah. Okay, so that is the beauty of the brain, that it somehow, even though these signals are very different, I keep saying we don't understand much of what the brain does. We know some parts get lighted up, so we know that that is active part for audio. Some parts are important for visual, but how exactly does it process is something that we are not very clear about. Okay, so we are taking a alternate approach, like people have given this familiar examples, right? I want to fly, right? Today aeroplanes go what? They don't flap their wings and go, but most animals that fly, right, the birds and so on, they flap their wings, right? But our way of flying is very different. Similarly, we do not know how the brain exactly processes, but we have our own method which converts speech to text, and then we want something more intelligent to be done with this text, right? And that is basically what is the final system which interacts with human beings, right? So we have talked about a statistical approach, where what we did was we had a waveform, right? And I keep emphasizing that idea of what we call as windowed method, that every few milliseconds we take some kind of analysis, right? And then we extract some useful features from them, which we call as the Mel filter bank features or MFCC features. These capture the property of the sound during that interval of time. So when I say and, so there's an and part, so this will be capturing that. And then we have a hidden Markov model, which basically is going to capture these as states, right? So these are the sounds, like if I am saying and or something, right? These are going to be the states, and so they have what's called the transition probability, which gives basically an idea how often am I, once I get a, how often do I get to n, or how often I stay in the same sound a, and so on. So this is actually one part which is called the sequence information. So here is actually the HMM is capturing information about how sounds follow each other, right? So there is some information about after a, n comes, after n, d comes, and so on. So this information is captured by the HMM, and these are called the states of the HMM, right? So the analogy always is with respect to what we did for the weather. So outside, somebody is sitting inside a cave. I observe outside whether it's sunny, cloudy, rainy. Those are the states, right? But in a hidden Markov model, I cannot observe the states. I see a related phenomenon, which is a condition of the grass, right? So similarly, here this is the related phenomenon, right? What I can observe. okay, and this is analogous to condition of grass. Okay. So, this is something that we all are very clear. Okay. The HMM, the states in the weather condition was sunny, cloudy, rainy, right. This is the weather case. In the case of the hidden Markov model for speech, what we are saying is we do not know the underlying sounds. Is it a, is it na, is it e, right? We do not know these guys. These are hidden from us. What we can observe is the related speech waveform which is picked up by the microphone. From that I do some signal processing and extract something called features. These are the MEL filter bank features, and so this is what we observe. Okay. And what do we do here? Our goal, and each of these states are going to be modeled by each of the states are modeled by a mixture of Gaussians. Okay. Why do we need this? This is like, because there is variability among speakers, right. So, for the same sound there is variability due to different speakers, right. Remember, even heights example, if I had taken a population consisting of male, female and children, there are going to be some bell curves kind of thing, and when you consolidate them you might get 3 modes, right, maybe, right. I mean, so and also due to environment, noise and so many other conditions, right. So, we have to model this variability, and for that we use a GMM, right. So, this is the basic idea of a GMM-HMM, right. Now, we are going to do deep learning, right. So, we are doing deep learning. So, we replace GMM by a deep neural network, right. And so, that is the basic idea that we are going to do. So, this is the DNN, and therefore, we are coming to a hybrid model which is part statistical, right, and part deep neural network. So, it is a mixture of neural net and conventional statistics. So, we have the hybrid model which is called the DNN-HMM, and it exactly does the job of a GMM. So, what we do is we take the waveform, right, as usual, okay, and what we are going to do is that we will again do the windowing as usual, right, extract those features that you are interested in, and then what we do is, so this is, let us say O1, O2, these are your MEL filter bank features, right. So, O3 and so on. What we want to do is we want to use the deep neural network to take these features and estimate the probability of which sound was produced. So, we are going to feed this through a deep neural network, a DNN, and we are going to predict what sound, right. So, what phoneme or sound. Okay. And this is the basic idea that we are going to follow. Okay. So, and this is the equivalent of GMM. So, it is only a posterior versus don't worry about posterior versus likelihood kind of thing, but essentially this is what is going to happen. So, I have to make a decision here. So, each time I am going to make a decision when passing through. So, this is one big neural network actually. Each time I am going to make a decision which sound does it belong to. So, that one will be representing it in terms of a probabilistic using a softmax. There is a softmax somewhere sitting here. So, it is going to take softmax and you will get one probability kind of vector, probability vector for each of the sounds, let us say A, E, I, Y, I, H, N, D, what is the probability, right. Ideally, for the sound only one of them should light up, but there is always a non-zero probability for the others. So, one of them might light up. So, something like might light up, so that might be very high, 0.96, and then others might be 0.0001, something like that. So again another sound, another vector will come, another vector will come. So this is how we are going to do. While we train also, we are going to give this network, we know the actual sound, that is why we need something called alignment when we train also, and then find out. Or we can do something that I am not interested in finding out. See, every consecutive, we are only operating at 10 millisecond, differences. So the difference between these two are 10 milliseconds. The difference between these two are only 10 milliseconds. Within 10 milliseconds, I might not change my sound very much, because I might say and. So is quite long. It's more than 40-50 milliseconds, right? So consecutive frames may all be capturing right. So if I am looking at some 10 frames, right? So I might get O1, O2, O3, O4, O5, O6, O7, O8, O9. Let's say this might be then then something like that. So I am not interested in correctly estimating for every frame the correct sound. That is not my interest. What is my interest ultimately? My interest is to find the sequence of phonemes. From that I can use the lexicon and find out the word, right. So it does not matter, instead of this, if I at the boundary I might make some mistakes. So this also might be equally reasonably good likelihood for this kind of sequence also. These two are competitive. See, at the boundaries it is not very clear, we smoothly move from sound to sound. So that is where we said let us use this connectionist temporal classification, or CTC, to say that I am only worried in the output should be followed by n followed by d. That is all I am interested in. Okay, it does not matter if you call the first three belonging to and the next three. So as long as I combine all the probabilities, total sum of the probabilities, as long as I get the correct sequence, that is my interest. Okay, and so therefore quickly we can think, why go to sounds? Why not go directly to characters? Right? Ultimately, what am I doing? I am always interested in text output, right. So I am interested in a text output, which is nothing but a sequence of characters. So why go to sequence of sounds? Then from sequence of sounds, look at the lexicon, right. So normally what will you do here? We will look at the lexicon, right. So the lexicon will be this and so here I will produce three different sounds and then I look up and say that okay, this is the word and, right. But this is often useful, more useful for English or French and other languages, where there is no not a very significant correlation between what we say and what we write. Okay, there could be many differences. Like I give an example, like psychology, right, psychology or something, right. So I might, in the written form it is written like this, but in the spoken form I only say psychology. Here P is supposed to be silent, right. So how do we determine all this? So there is in English and in French intéressant, but I don't produce so many sounds, intéressant, and on. Okay, but actually when you write there are multiple int, rresent, it will keep on going. Okay, because half the things we don't even speak out, okay, in French. Okay, so so those languages, this lexicon is a good thing. Otherwise, learning directly to characters might be difficult. But Indian languages by and large are phonemic. Okay, so what do you mean by phonemic? That what I speak and what I write are pretty much correlated, highly correlated. It's almost one to one. Okay, so therefore in Indian languages it is easy to go directly from spoken to written, because there is a high, when you speak or when you write, you see that there is a unique, almost one to one correspondence between the two, right. So essentially we can do directly from speech to text using this idea, right. So speech to text is what I am doing, speech to text, but here I am going to go to speech to characters, and one of the characters is going to be the blank, the space, so that I can differentiate words. Okay. So now my problem becomes a little more easier. I start with the waveform. I don't need the lexicon, right. I am going to do this processing, window based processing, right, every 10 milliseconds, and then I am going to get these vectors O1, O2, O3, pass it through this neural network, and then I use a CTC criteria, right, and directly get sequence of letters. That is what we are going to do. Okay. So, I could still be in a DNN, but remember inside there is going to be the HMM part which will capture the sequence of sound, I mean the transitions, right, that still is necessary, but I can have this done by a forward backward. Later on, now we are going to switch a little more into this idea of, so this is where I stopped last class, but now I am going to talk about this idea that in this network what am I doing. So, let me erase this part. In this network what am I doing? I am basically trying to say predict each guy with, this is a deep neural network. I am going to predict this guy, what sound it belongs to, what sound it belongs to, what sound, I mean or character. Let us look at sound, which is easier to understand. So, here I am doing phoneme, right, classification, right, phoneme classification, right. So, here I am doing phoneme classification. So, here AE might might light up if I am doing and might light up, here n might light up, somewhere n might light up, right, and then somewhere d might light up. That is how I am going to be doing my analysis. But you know, there, this is very highly correlated, right. So, if I know this is the next symbol is also going to be right, I mean with a high probability, right, and then the next will be high, then then. So, if I know and n has come, then d is going to be having a high probability, right. This all is captured through the sequence information that we talk about in using an HMM, right. So, it is telling you what is the transition probability. So, it is able to model the sequence and how often it is going to be remaining in the same state, when will it go to the next state. All this is captured in the hybrid model through the work of the HMM. So, the HMM is the one that takes care of this information, how states evolve after I reach the state, when do I go to the n state, when do I go to d state. So, it is keeping track of the sequence information. Okay. The DNN is not using any of this idea, it is doing a frame by frame decision. Okay. It is going to do a frame by frame decision, and it is not looking at history at all. Okay. It does not have memory. So, it does not have that much memory at all. You might stack some neighboring frames and say that is like a memory, but that's a crude way of saying it, but it does not keep track of what are the different sounds that were produced before, and therefore what should a sound. It is not influenced by what happened previously, right. Every step it just goes through, every step it just goes through, right. So, it is not essentially looking at what happened. Oh, having said that this is and this is am I going to be influenced here? No. Independently, when O3 comes, I am going to do that pass through the network and make a decision. So, it is doing a frame by frame decision, which is not a very smart thing to do, right. In speech there is some some structure, right. So, we know that there is continuity and so on.